Today, we want to do a lesson or have a lesson on multiplying fractions. So, in green, I kind of put the rule for multiplying fractions. It's numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Okay? And the red is where you got to stop. You got to always remember. Always reduce and simplify your final answers. So, when you're multiplying fractions, you do the top times the top and bottom times the bottom. Or you can say it as numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. And you have to always reduce or simplify your final answer. Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says 1/2 times 3/8. So I'm going to do the top times the numerator times the numerator, and the denominator times the denominator. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 8 is 16. This cannot be reduced, so this would be my final answer. Let's take a look at number 2. Once again, we have 3/4 times 1/6. So I could write this as 3 times 1 divided by 4 times 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 6 is 24. Now, we can reduce this one. We can reduce. Okay? When we reduce, we can divide the top and the bottom by 3. The numerator and the denominator both can be divided by 3. That's going to make this 1/8. Okay? Now, an alternate way of doing this is, let's go ahead and start back with our fractions. 3/4 times 1/6. One of the rules in math is, if I have a numerator and a denominator that I know share a common factor, I can go ahead and simplify before I multiply. So what that means, if I look, I have 3 and 6. I know that both of those can be reduced by a factor of 3. So I'm going to divide both of those by 3. Now I rewrite the new fractions. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that becomes 1/4, times 6 divided by 3 is 2, so this becomes 1/2. Now I just do 1/4 times 1/2, which equals 1/8, and I'm done. Okay? Let's keep it moving. Number 3. Number 3 says 2/5 times 11. Now we have a fraction times a whole number. Well, that's no problem. The first thing we want to do is just rewrite that whole number as a fraction. So we're going to rewrite this to say 2/5 times, we make a whole number a fraction by writing it over 1. Okay? And now that we have 2/5 times 11 over 1, we can go ahead and multiply. 2 times 11 is 22. 5 times 1 is 5. And we are allowed to leave our answers as improper fractions. If the question that we were working on, or if your teacher wants you to change it to an improper fraction, you simply go ahead and change it to an improper fraction. Okay? All right. Number 4, the last one. We have 2 1/3 times 1/9. Well, 2 1/3 is a mixed number. So before we can do anything, we have to convert this mixed number, change this mixed number to an improper fraction. So that's the first thing we have to do. Once we change it to an improper fraction, we can go ahead and multiply. So, to change it to an improper fraction, we would simply do 3 times 2 plus 1. That's going to be the denominator. That's going to be the numerator. The denominator stays the same. Okay? So, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So this fraction becomes 7/3. So now that I know that 2 1/3 is 7/3, I can go ahead and rewrite this problem. So if I rewrite my problem, instead of 2 1/3, I'm going to write 7/3 times 9 divided by 11. Okay? I also noticed that 3 and 9 have a common factor. Both of those can be divided by 3. Now I want to rewrite my fractions again. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that's becomes 7 divided by 1. Times 9 divided by 3 is 3 divided by 11. Now I can go ahead and multiply. 7 times 3 is 21. 1 times 11 is 11. That cannot be simplified, so I would leave that as my final answer. Otherwise, if your teacher or the problem that you're working on requires you to have it as a mixed number, then change it to a mixed number. All right? And before we conclude, I'll just put a little side note down here for this, for improper to mixed. When you have a mixed number is a whole number, a numerator, and a denominator. Okay? So when I want to change it to a improper fraction, the rule is I do my denominator times my whole number, and then I add the numerator, and the denominator stays the same. And that's how I did this over here. Okay? All right. I hope that helps somebody out, and I'll see y'all the next go around.